Okay.
Morning.
Anna, can you pray for us?
Mm-hmm. Father, we do give you thanks for what you are revealing in your people and the many changes that are here and that are to come. I pray that we would not be afraid of the future or hold on to the past, but that we would simply be in the moment. I thank you that you're ever present with us, and I pray that in these times together we would not gather with hardened hearts, but that our hearts would be free and open to your Spirit and to receive, Father. I thank you for those that are willing to move forward in this time, and I pray that we would continue on that path and follow you. Thank you for everything that you do and your forgiveness and mercy. I pray that we would not hold back any longer, but that we would remember who we are in you, and that our hearts would always strive for more of your purpose and your way. So I thank you for reminding us that your love goes on. I pray that that is something we would never forget. Thank you, Father. Amen.
Amen. So Corbin, I was wanting to hear how things have been going for you the last couple of weeks since our last time together. I know you've been able to meet with Kim at some point, so if you were willing to give just like an update of how things have been going for you.
It went very well. I'm glad I had a chance to talk with Kim because we both just, I don't know what the right term would be, to spill our guts. We both just went over, yeah, this broke here, this happened there, this happened here. But it was very good for me to hear someone that's had more experience go through a lot of stuff and take the opposite opinion of me, where I kind of decided, like, at my worst, I was like, yeah, no, something's real, because you can't be this cruel on accident. So much has gone wrong. But Kim has the exact opposite view. And I know she has a lot more experience than me, so it's very good. I like being disproven. I like being proven wrong most of the time because I was a very pessimistic person growing up.
Mm-hmm.
It's good though. It's good to see what family is like.
Yeah.
It's eye-opening in the most painful way it can be.
Does anyone else have any further thoughts or impressions about last time we met? Not even just what we were talking about, but even how that time went. We can be open and transparent with each other about things, so don't worry about that. I just am curious, because I know a lot of you guys were quiet for the most part, but don't be afraid to critique each other even. Like not that this is a place to pick on each other. I'm not saying or encouraging that, but like
I'm afraid.
no.
Last
no,
time was
not-
the Corbin episode, so anything to be said is gonna be about me.
Well, not
Enough.
really, because we don't fail to acknowledge. At least I hope nobody fails to acknowledge just where we know each person is at, and this a lot for you, Corbin, has been very a very new thing.
Mhm.
I think just even with the simple fact of getting to know us and us getting to know you. And what I've observed personally with you so far is that you have a very sincere heart in the things that you do talk about and share, and you're not coming with like this.
Presumption.
Well, yeah, you're not coming with anything that is an effort to convince us of some way to think about things,
Yeah.
and we also don't want to approach you in such a way either. We want to have that same kind of sincerity of heart and speech when we do converse with each other about more meaningful things. But having a sincere heart is one thing, but still, and this kind of works with a sincere heart, I guess, or requires a sincere heart, but being true to what you know and have committed your life to, which I can speak kind of on behalf of most of the people here, is just as necessary, if not more so, because sincerity and genuineness in the way that we converse with each other is not just a matter of trying to be completely general and like what's the right word? We're not trying to be too open-ended in everything that we're thinking about, as if there aren't things that we do firmly hold to be true to our lives, because it's something that we pursue as an object of our aspiration and affection. And we mentioned that explicitly last meeting as our pursuit of a greater and more intimate relationship with God, with our Father.
Mm-hmm.
And so those are things that we aren't that we don't shuffle around. Those are not things that we prevaricate about. It's we don't we're not trying to be indirect, but actually direct about those things. But again, like mentioning what I did moments ago, not in such a way that it's like shoving it in people's faces, but just being real about it. That's the kind of sincerity that I'm talking about. To treat it religiously would actually not be sincere. It would just be treating it as if it's just a system of thought. But
Yeah.
we're actually learning to. We aren't perfect in this yet, but we are learning to not treat it merely as a belief system or as a theological system, but as something that defines our life and character. And a good way to practice that and be perfected in that is to learn how to talk with each other about it, which is what times like this is for. So, the desire for us, or the desire that we have for you, is for you to not be like a foreigner to these things and these topics when we discuss them with each other, but we want them to be real and relatable and healthily familiar for you too. And again, not in such a way that it's a mere conversation topic, as if it were just like a set of concepts or just a merely conceptual thing, but something that you have your own individual experience with. And so that takes obviously more than just engaging in these discussions with these people, right?
Mm-hmm.
It takes
it has
individual
to follow you
effort.
home.
Yeah. But once again, that is a very personally, individually sought out thing to begin with. So we don't do anything more than to encourage you and one another in that.
I've seen that from you guys. I don't think I've seen it to such a degree anywhere else but this group. where I've seen like distant relationships with people and like with a sense of purpose in God and stuff. But a lot of the time it's easier just to get either a one-on-one or 2-3 people in a group. Because like Isaac can tell you, we talk a lot on our drives back and forth. But I know I can't easily break into some of those topics in this wide a group. You might have an easier time if, I was gonna say, you'd have to schedule like a hangout. It'd have to be a personal moment with somebody else, an intimate time, or even just a relaxed and calm time where if there's something on your chest. It's harder with almost a meeting table.
Sure.
But I think that would be the peak of it. You'd have to be able to trust everyone there.
Mm-hmm.
I think too, and I'm not going against anything you're saying, I'm just coming alongside kind of what you're saying. Something else I've personally learned is when something is like brought out, I guess, in another person, whether that's, I guess, a concern or just a thought towards someone else, I also don't feel like it's just for that person. Like, I've learned to always take it and look at myself with, I guess, I'll just use a silly example. If somebody's pointing out something in Jaden, whoever, I don't know, if someone's saying something to him, I'm immediately going to be like, oh, is any of that inside me as well? So it's not, I don't think it is just you're doing this wrong. Sometimes we get used as examples for everyone to learn as well. So I don't think it's as cut and dry as one person. And if anybody else can help me explain that better, I'm totally open, or like thoughts. I'm not the best at explaining, but yeah.
No, it makes sense. We all serve as examples to each other. So being able to be frank about it, it's like, I noticed this. Or it's rough if you're like, what's that about?
Yeah.
Because then it puts them in a position to defend themselves instead of explain themselves. That's difficult.
Yeah. Well, you also always don't want to assume you're in the right, of course.
Yeah.
Because if somebody's doing something wrong, I may as well be doing that exact same thing. So sometimes for other people it could be more, I guess, public or not. But that's happened to me plenty of times where I've been an example for me to learn, absolutely, but other people as well. And I'm sure other people, and I've learned and taken it into myself too. So I just mean that as an encouragement, and I agree with what you were saying as well.
It's a badge of honor to get humiliated in front of others.
It really is.
Time that stands out to me still is when you and your dad ripped into me when we were having our analytics time. Much needed, but that always stood out to me because that was a good experience for me, and I hope for others as well. I think, Corbin, to what you're saying with the difference between the intimate one-on-ones and kind of this time, I think they just serve different purposes, honestly. Because I'm 100% with you. Isaac is a great car ride chatter. That's some of my favorite ones with him. But I also think that there is a great advantage to having meetings like this, even if they feel kind of awkward at times, which I don't deny at all. I think that is partly just how things are going to be, and also partly a sign of our immaturity. None of us here claim to fully know what we're doing or how we're supposed to go about this. And I hope
Which
you
is
don't
good.
But I think that yesterday was a perfect example of some of the beautiful things that can be born from a time like this. Because I think that, to use my mom's words, that is an example of the body functioning exactly as it should. And I think that you even going into the things that you wanted to talk about and everything that happened during that last meeting happened exactly as it should have. And so I hope you're not carrying any guilt from that time that you felt like you did something wrong, because I think that every single thing that happened, including who decided to speak and who decided to say what, was very intentionally ordained. And I think was a great example of one of the beautiful benefits of this time is when the Lord has an opportunity to use different people in different ways.
Gotcha.
I think that the way that he used you to bring out certain topics that would normally we wouldn't have a real chance to address directly, the way that he used Noah, the way that he used me, Kayla, even Elijah over the Elijah and Kayla over the iPad. There was a lot of things that were would not have been able to happen if it was just a one-on-one.
Yep. That's true. I hadn't seen that side as The group helps to.
We want to draw towards the one-on-ones, and again, there's nothing wrong with those. The one-on-ones are great, and I very much shared that mentality for a while. Like, man, why do we do all these meetings? These feel so compared to group stuff. But recently, I've really begun to see the benefits of that peeking through.
Yeah.
It's easier to be genuine in a one-on-one than in a group, and again, that's just a sign of our own immaturity.
Yeah, no, it is a thing to overcome, or at least to work towards.
But at the same time, I see the work the Lord is doing in that, and I am seeing a lot more recently, at least, the benefits of these meetings coming up to, and even I would say extending further than just those one-on-one times.
Yeah, no, I think this is a very good time to broach and get people, if not on the same page, at least the same topic. Because a lot of times conversations extend out of here, and it's like, oh, you get a message. They wanted to talk about this more, or like assure or reassure. But it's good because if it is a bunch of one-on-ones, then you don't get that. You get these people are thinking about this right now. This one's completely off topic.
I think like something I've always appreciated is when I have those one-on-one times. 95% of the time, I'll come to a meeting and those things will be brought up that nobody else knew what I was talking about with this person.
Yeah.
So it's like an encouragement
which means
too.
everyone else was at least on that page.
Yeah,
but everyone
exactly.
kinda, they all huddled up.
Yeah,
and we
I
could've
think
just
that's like
continued.
when we are supposed to have like, I guess, a one-on-one, we are supposed to have that intimate one-on-one relationship with people, but then it's brought to the bigger community or like the more gathering of people. And sometimes it's really encouraging and sometimes it's a needed like soberness, but it goes both ways. It makes me excited just because this is things that I'm learning myself and walking myself through because it's really hard, but it's so beautiful too. It's like a half and half. It's a mix.
Yeah, one thing that you said kind of was something that I've been thinking about, and I guess just kind of seeking the Lord on, how to go about it. But you said something like, in order to be able to be more intimate with one another, we need to trust one another.
Yeah.
And, this kind of thinking has actually hindered me a lot, especially in group settings. It's the fact that I feel like there isn't a type of trust with each one of everybody that's there. And this is something that the Lord has kind of been opening up more, but what we really need to trust in is in Him.
Yep.
It's not about trust in each other. And that was a really big, like, oh, you're right, kind of thing. Like, I don't trust you in that way, God. Yeah, and also just kind of realizing that that is a different way of uniting with one another, and in thought and in spirit is less of like with each other as people, but more toward the source, which is God, and trying to come at it with that perspective of first I want to come to you, and then I know that I can come to each other because they also can come to you, and we can have that kind of fellowship. So, just something I was thinking about that you reminded me of.
Gotcha.
It also just feels like one of the truest and purest way to relate to people, so yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, talking with Kim helped with that. I reevaluated a lot, like when I had a hike with Jade and Benji and Anna as well, where Jade was, where you were taking the time not to stress but to accentuate if everything, like entertain the thought that everything happens for a reason. And during the hard times, I wasn't a very big fan of that. As I said, I turned very cynical about it. I was like, there's no way everything goes wrong for no reason at all. There's something, everything's coming together. Now that I've survived, I'm like, no, I can see that now. I can reevaluate old scars and see what they led to. And not wow, this hurt, but in I grew from this.
And I think that even rather than, and I love that stuck with you, because that was definitely something that I was feeling at that moment, but even an expansion of that is not even necessarily that everything happened for a reason, but that everything can be used for a reason.
True.
that every hard thing and every good thing in your life serves a purpose other than just the fact that it happened.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't we talk about that in your class now with like destiny and
Fate.
the other? Yeah, was fate.
Mhm.
Was that similar to that? Would you say?
Mm-hmm. Kind of what we were talking about yesterday too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's, to catch you up to speed with Confucius ideology, fate is kind of a little different than we are familiar with it in the Western sense of like
Okay.
where it would be synonymous to something like luck. Fate is more of a, how would I put that best?
Predestined.
It's kind of things that are outside of your control, I think is the easiest way to put it.
Okay.
And to try and control them, to try and live your life in such a way to puppet master the dealings of fate and to try to secure yourself a better lot is very often not only a fruitless endeavor, but it sows things into your heart that often bear negative results. And
I
a
can see
lot
that.
of that's actually what you were kind of coming in on the tail end of what I was talking with Benji earlier before we had started our meeting, of the difference between living life in a cause and effect
Mhm.
mentality and versus an intent mentality.
Yeah, I do believe that. Just like I got sidetracked because what that brought to mind for me was just you can't make anything change. You can't force anything
Mhm.
upon someone. It has to come from inside,
Mhm.
and that's for them to decide.
Mm-hmm. I mean, and as far as like Confucius very much thought that way with the way. That was what he called his the Confucian way is often what those principles and those virtues are described as.
Gotcha.
And he described not only the way as an act of fate, whether it is accepted or rejected, but also even things so far as like your station in life, right? Your job, right? And things like that. And it extended, I don't quite know the far reaches as to what, but a lot of things in life. I think he lived in such a way to where his goal was never to influence those things.
Mm-hmm.
Even so far as like his goal of, wandering all throughout China and trying to influence the people and find a virtuous ruler to which he could instruct. Even in that, he had multiple opportunities where he very much could have found a ruler that he had influence over and could have had
I
opportunities
can
to
see
place those virtues into practice.
Yeah.
But
He could have found someone influenceable. but
exactly,
That's
but
not.
that's
what he was
not that's
hunting.
not what his heart was. That's
Yeah.
not. It was not. I am trying to do what I'm doing for some end, right? It is not for this end goal I have in mind. It is all about what his intent and his heart in the moment was.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that there is, if you can apply that to the modern sense, and it's kind of a little different, but I think still very applicable. There is a way to live life in which you are not trying to bring about some end. And it's different than just this wandering aimlessness, because I've been there. I've been one who can, I could have said, oh, I'm doing that, I don't have any end, but it's different.
Yeah.
Because there is such a heart that you can live with and such an intent where you are having a faith in something beyond an effect. It sounds really wishy-washy and weird, I know, but there is an intentionality in which you can live life and focus on the important things that are not things like job, station, wealth, all of the pursuits that I would say probably consume
Yeah.
most.
Very much the American
I
dream.
mean, yeah, but for me, I was pushed, like, education was just about the only thing I thought of till like 2 years ago.
Mhm.
That was the only end I had in my mind. And it's very different when you start to view things like that as not honestly outside of your control, but also just not that important.
Mhm.
Things that come as they will. Things that if it is in fate, will come to you naturally by the way that you live life.
Yeah, I think I'm starting to internalize that. Where
I
there's
think-
a sense of peace of like, I don't have to really fight tooth and nail for good things to happen. There is good out there, and it will happen.
Yeah, and I think
I
even
can just hope to be a part of it, but not insist or force myself into it.
And I think even that's a good start with that letting go. But I think even so far as like there is a way to live life in which such things are not even a concern.
Yep.
Because it's just not where your heart and your mind lies. There is a rest that you can find in the heart of today.
I think, yeah, a lot of it is being true to yourself. If as long as that's not too vague, where I don't want to phrase it.
I get what you mean.
You have to know yourself very well to know even what is that important to you, but you have to know why it's important. Because if you eventually I feel like you can chase something down. I certainly have. Just like, why do I even care? And like, I just keep finding, oh, is it this, or was I raised like this? And it kind of just goes, no, this is just, and that is why it is important to me. Eventually I find out I can't quantify or put down on paper, this is why I do this. It's like, no, it's because this is for good. I'm doing the right thing here. As far as I know, I'm doing the right thing here.
Yeah, I've found myself in a very similar ideology many times. I often can ascribe a lot of the things I do in life as a want to want. Confucius a lot of time talks about like the journeys of when virtue starts to become a like natural desire of your heart. It's like basically when your heart aligns with what is good, when what you naturally desire is one and the same with what is good, what is.
Yeah. I think that is.
And I think
very
that's
important.
that is definitely a level of maturity I have
Yeah.
yet to attain, and so I can definitely share the sentiment of.
I can-
Sometimes to be what you're saying is not too different from what I'm saying. There is a good that you know of, and that I guess there is an inner desire there to even want, but that's the best way to put it for me.
I thought twice about it, and I was like, yeah, that's a good thing to strive for. You're doing it wrong if you're striving for it. It was supposed to be intrinsic. And that means it's weird to work towards something without fighting for it or exerting for it.
Yeah.
That's what you're going for.
That is it's effortless action.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly for me, where I have to get, and I would assume you're kind of similar, and don't let this be like I'm telling you to do something, but more of just maybe something to keep an eye out for, because it's kind of the thought process. Sometimes you actually just have to like not think about such things.
Yeah.
And that sounds really weird, and I know if someone were to
it's
told
the
that to
truth.
me, I would be like, what do you mean not think about it? Are you just gonna mindless? No. Like sometimes your brain gets so like you can imagine like a computer trying to mine Bitcoin or something, like a 1980s Windows.
Blowing
Like
smoke.
you're just gonna like overload your hard drive.
Yeah, no, I found out a lot that like it was the second I stopped fighting tooth and nail for something, it was like, oh, the solution was I float. I would just move towards it if I stopped thrashing or hounding this. The second something was not obsessive to me anymore, it was easily achievable.
There is, I think, a very sound way of living life into which you, I guess, gravitate towards good.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that where you are currently at, I think that is the easiest way to think about it, because I just as someone who I think, I think just based on the way that you talk, you and I probably think about things very similarly, and definitely have a habit of that overthinking.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it kind of has to be enough to just go, let's see where this goes.
Yeah.
Because
And
you're...
it takes trust and humility to be able to like, I don't hold the strings here.
That's why I was so happy that you got a chance to meet with my mom, because I feel like when I have gotten the opportunity to talk to her, she gives you such a waterfall of things that it is like pretty much impossible for your brain to try and churn through all of that.
Yeah.
Like it's just
No,
not
it's
gonna
really
happen.
good.
And so what it kind of like
'Cause-
forces you to do in a way
Mhm.
is to try and live in a way where you're not trying to think where you're not trying to analyze and
No,
over
it's-
process everything that you're doing.
I feel like the best way to put it is like, sometimes I'm literally dumbfounded where I'm like, oh.
Mm-hmm.
But sitting at that O state instead of like just thoughts burning back and forth,
Mm-hmm.
I can't achieve that without others.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's very helpful in that in the way of helping with the intellectual mind.
Mm-hmm.
I would say their Pinson's father, Tim Jr. I don't know if you've met him. He's comes around Granny's every once in a
No,
while.
I saw him at I saw him and John at
Where's it go?
Joyce and Co.
Yeah, he's also a great person to help with such things because some things he gives you to chew on, your brain can't quite do it.
Mhm.
But I'm very encouraged to see the things you are trending towards. I would say just don't get too stressed about things that aren't worth stressing about.
Yeah, no, everything's harder in my head than it is to actually do it. That's all I found out.
Yeah. I would say that the most encouraging thing to me when I was but a fledgling is look where you're trending, right? Look where you were and look where you are now.
Mhm.
And don't worry too much about where you're not measuring up with what your brain says you should be measuring up to. Because I think that it is only natural that not only do we have standards for ourselves, but sometimes we even base the standards we place on ourselves on others. Or we place standards on ourselves that we think we see of others. We try to... Man, what am I doing with my words right now? I don't know, maybe it's a sign I should shut up.
No. Once again, what if that just means it's intrinsic to you? It's beyond simple to you that you know it.
It is, but
In a world where I like to say, hey, you know nothing, there's things you know.
I
And that's
think that-
because you don't think about them.
I think there's also times where I'm a little too yappy, and I think that other people in this room have a lot more experience in the things I'm trying to describe than I do, and so I would love to open the floor to anybody else.
Yeah, I want to know what you guys thought of the chapter we read yesterday in The Father's House.
Washroom?
Yeah, the bathroom.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for more context, Corbin, it's a book we're going through. It's called The Father's House.
So it's been explained to me.
Yeah.
When I can more comfortably drive, and not even in the physical sense, but in the owning a car sense, I'll probably end up showing up. I think it'd be good for me.
Anyways, but we're not just talking about like a bathroom. It's like a
No,
like an allegory,
yeah.
yeah.
Everything is a allegory. Is a better word than metaphor.
Are those times recorded for the YouTube?
yeah.
I think so.
You might be able to listen
That's
to
also
that,
one
too.
of the higher quality ones, because
Mhm.
Tim is just sitting in front of a mic and is like basically reading it directly to you. And that's the whole class. Like, there's not a whole lot of like discussion or input from others.
I've
so-
thought about it. Even watching my own a meeting I was a part of, past tense. I don't like it for some
Oh
reason.
no, that's terrible. I don't blame you for that. But I feel like it's almost a podcast in a sense. Because he's literally just reading a book.
Mhm.
That's it. And you can put it on 2x speed or whatever is the most comfortable for your brain. But I think that book, it might be a little confusing,
Mhm.
but I also think if it raises questions, then that's great. And I think it would also be a
Yeah.
great opportunity if you have questions to, talk to Isaac, Noah, myself, even my mom. I know she would be more than thrilled to talk to you about such things if you're
Yeah.
curious.
I might. I just might. For me, whenever it comes to something like that, long form content, it's like I can't just be rotting in my room while I listen to this. Maybe I'll stack firewood or something.
Yeah.
As long as I'm moving, I'm thinking. I figured that out driving.
I 100% can get there. I like to multitask when I listen to such things.
Mhm.
I think it's
But anyway.
I don't know what it is. ADHD autism.
Yeah, I wouldn't rush it. I was
Yeah.
just mainly wanting to give you context so you at least like have an
But yeah.
idea of what we're talking about. But
Mhm.
I mean, it was a pretty meaningful time, and I think like a very, I don't know, it resonated with me in a pretty deep way. So I wanted to
Mhm.
see what you guys had thought about it.
Towards the end, when he was I don't remember exactly. I'm gonna have to go back because it was so much. Where he was talking about like finally touching the water. That was like, there was a line he said that stuck out to me that I can't remember, but just that whole like couple pages of the book is where I was like, oh my goodness, like that was one of them that I really related to, and I feel like I've related to all of them, but that was one that really spoke to me, and I felt like it brought healing to me in a very certain way from whatever, but I was really encouraged by that, and I think I want to go back and read it again.
There's times I've read things where I'm like, especially when I was a kid, there was a lot of times where I was like, oh, like, this is peaceful, this is right, and I hate it right now. Where, like, I feel like there's times I read stuff and it's like, this will make sense once I've matured a little more. Because everything is laid out in a way that I've been able to social chameleon and be like, yeah, no, that entirely makes sense, but it's like, I'm not there yet. And sometimes I get that a lot in reading. I have to reread things for that reason.
Yeah, it's nice to go back, like after you just, it hits you and you're like, oh, and then you get time to like process it, and then you go back and you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, sometimes you literally just, things need time to sink in versus taking more in.
Yeah, absolutely.
I did that a lot in school where it's like, yeah, just cram everything, learn nothing.
I think one of the things I loved most about that was the part where he mentions, it was towards the beginning, and it was like, it's not necessarily like sin or things you've done wrong that always have to be washed. It's sometimes just residue from the journey. And I get that, like, that really touched me, because that's where I get very off. That's where I was yesterday, honestly. And what was so cool about that experience is, like, I think I have felt experiences where I have been to that place. And honestly, last night in the car ride, or last afternoon in the car ride, I was actually just praying. Like, I feel like I really need that right now. And I went on a run when I got home, and I don't know, I feel like I was able to re-feel what that room was like, and that was such a release for me. There was a residue sticking on me from life, I think. I've noticed a lot of times, and I don't think I'm exclusive in this, but there can feel like there's hills and there's valleys. And recently, those hills and valleys have becoming much nearer for me, where it feels like I will be on a really good up and up, and then all of a sudden you're just, you're like, what even happened, right? And I was definitely in a valley on that car ride home, and I love that the way Haniel wrote about that made it very easy for me to feel like I know how to pray about it. Because I felt like I at least finally had, I think the Father read my intentions before, but it felt so nice to like feel like I had words to express something that my heart was longing for and had longed for in the past before. And yeah, it was, I think the letting go was the biggest thing there. And there were so many things, even now I think, that I've like was grappling with, because it feels like there's too many things that I just don't know what the right decision is. I don't know what I'm meant to do. There isn't a clear right or wrong, and I am very scared that the wrong decision or even the right decision might make things much harder on me. And I battled with that for a bit, because I realized me holding on to that, me wanting to be able to reserve making a decision on that, to reserve bringing that to the Lord so that I could pick the easiest decision for myself, that was actually what was causing that feeling of heaviness on me. And I mean, I loved that book, just the way that the way that you can release that to him. And I think it wasn't an immediate. It was like this gradual feeling of weight being lifted from the pit of my stomach. And I mean, I woke up today and I did not feel so fatigued, and I was not haunted by dreams in my sleep, which is normally a sign that I'm more of peace of mind, I'm starting to realize. And yeah, I was not only very touched by that book just because of like, I know I was there before, but also because I feel like it opened the door for me to know how to go there intentionally, to not have to wait for the Father to invite me again into that place, but to be able to seek him out and ask. It's I guess it's not a seek necessarily though. It's like to be able to let go intentionally, to be able to offer those things to him so that he can do that within me.
I'm glad you said that, because that was like, that I remembered that the part that stood out to me, which it was almost the exact same way, but it was when he said, when he revealed to me the burdens I was carrying that I took upon myself and the burdens I didn't know I was carrying. I was like,
Absolutely.
that was the realization for me where I was like, oh my word, this is something I've done and I do, and I didn't know how to release that until like that moment where I was like, oh my word. And then like it took me later in the day where I was able to like come to that realization.
It's not as like easy as it feels like to let go of those things. Like I had to like battle within myself of like, I don't even know if I want to let go of this. I'm scared to let go of this. But yeah, if you can, once you get to that point, it is just so freeing to let go of those things.
When I spend time with my father, I tend to ask him to undo me from the inside out, and I ask him to forgive me, and I'm just asking him, but I'm not coming with a willingness to be undone.
I know what you mean.
And I don't really know how to change my perspective on that, like how to let go, like you guys are saying. So I don't know, how would you go about that?
I think
And I know that you don't have all
no,
the
I mean
answers,
I the only like qualification I would feel like to talk is I was sitting in that place yesterday of like, I'm saying the words, please undo me, but I am still, it's like, please take this from me, and I'm like,
Yeah, no, it's gonna be a fight.
Yeah.
I think it just came honestly to a point of, at least for me, for maybe more stubborn people, I don't think this is the case for everybody, but I'm speaking from personal experience, the exhaustion of holding on overtook my fear of what could happen. I think the key there is when your trust in him overcomes that fear of what happens when I let go of these things. And I don't think that's something, I mean, like the book said many times, you can strive for. I think that's something that just happens.
I'm reminded of something Kim shared with me. So imagine you're in a tunnel, okay? And you're holding on to a bunch of things, and the tunnel just keeps getting more narrow. So you can't carry everything through the tunnel because there's no space. So to get through the end, you have to let go of everything. That's kind of how it feels.
I think, quite honestly, for more stubborn people like myself, the only way you're going to let go of those things, if you don't know how to, is when the spot you are in feels worse than the fear of letting go. And I mean, literally just like, he'll either bring you to a place where you have enough trust in him to let that go, or you'll get to a place where you're just feeling so terrible, you're like, okay, it cannot possibly be worse to let go, and you'll want to let go.
That's where I was. I've called that like the pain of experience or the pain of regret. Eventually, it hurts more to regret than it is like, I just gotta do it. And you let go, and that's all you can do. Because eventually you are paralyzed with just fighting against it.
I'm very encouraged you said that, Emma, because I think that's 100% that want, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that I know that he knows your heart in that. And really, I think that is just a matter of time. You are obviously, with not only your heart that you share freely, but also with the way that you live, trending in the right directions. And so I can say with utter confidence that will happen for you. In what way? whether it be that trust or that like you just literally get to the end of yourself and can't do it anymore, who can say? Or maybe a third option that I don't know about, right?
Thank you.
But I am confident that that will happen so long as that remains on your heart, so long as that remains a want for you.
I believe it will.
I think part of that too, a big part of that is our relationship with the Father,
Mm-hmm.
because when we have that and when we have our trust in Him, we trust Him
Yep.
with those things,
Mm-hmm.
and we can let them go more easily. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's where he wants you to get to.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that is a beautiful spot. People who get there on the first try, those are beautiful hearts.
Yeah, I'm not that.
It's just, everybody's different. And I don't think that even like, I don't even compare myself to other people in that, because I just know that there is a love that he has for each of us that is not partial to the way that we have to engage in that way.
Mhm.
There is not a comparison that he does, and so why would we compare ourselves to others, right?
Yeah, no, I first grappled with that when I was first like, I finally got to find out what anything is. And I was like, I had a 2-hour talk with Noah, and I was just burning stuff in my front yard, just listening. And it was like, it took a long time, but it was like an eye opener when you told me like, we're all on our own journeys, but no one's more ahead than anyone else. I'm not farther ahead than you, or vice versa. And that one was literally, I was awestruck. I was like, no way, no.
You know what's crazy? I had a very, you realize things, because that's obviously something that we know, but I had that realization of like just kind of pondering my life up to that point yesterday, and I guess I was thinking like, I wonder if it was like my innocent belief in the Lord when I was much younger that kind of like gave me the opportunity or like sowed the seeds for what I was now. And then I kind of like walked through each step of my life and that turning point, and it's that realization. My journey with the Lord, my path has been since then and didn't stop. It kept going. I think that the life that you live is that journey towards him. I think there are key moments where you can either like accept or reject. No doubt about that. But I think that the journey he takes you on through life is that spiritual journey. That's why there is no, that's why I even went as far to say is like, what if the things that you went through were an intention?
Yeah.
What if the things that you went through were used by him to bring you to where you are right now?
Only now
Right?
am I able to like stomach that.
Right?
Before
And
I wasn't strong enough.
No, exactly. And you want to know why? Because he wouldn't have brought it to you when you couldn't stomach it. He brought it to you now because he knows you can stomach it.
Isaac,
It's-
didn't you have a analogy of like a ladder and like places of where we were or are on the ladder or something like that? Sorry,
I
didn't
remember it
interrupt you.
vaguely, but not
Oh, that was good.
not in detail enough.
I don't even know what you're talking about, so I want to know.
It was a while ago.
Was it a poem?
No, you just said something at a meeting that was like
Oh.
used an analogy of a ladder and how we're all on different places of the ladder, but I couldn't re-explain it. Sorry, Jaden, I didn't mean to interrupt
No,
you.
I was not interrupting. Are you not interrupting? I think as well with the rooms, kind of related to the washroom, but not necessarily, or not directly. Well, I'll just continue without the pretext. I had a conversation with Tim where he had mentioned that the washroom was up next because we were just kind of talking about the book. And it really surprised me. Like, he kind of talked about like how he's not really sure if he's like experienced that room, I guess, if he's like engaged with that. And that like blew my mind. I'm like, wait, what, really? Because that was a room that my dad like related with in such a way that he said it actually brought him to tears the first time he read it. I think the reason that was such an encouragement to me, funnily enough, is because it's the rooms are not sequential in the way that we're going through them. It's like, oh, I wasn't in the dining, I hadn't gotten to the dining room before. That means none of the other rooms that we're getting to are gonna apply to me.
That's so funny. I was just thinking that yesterday. I was
Yeah.
like, I wonder where we all are.
Yeah,
in those
because I
rooms.
think that it's exactly what we're talking about, how every person's journey is different,
Right.
right? The room that you're coming to next is not gonna be the same room that I'm coming to next. Like, for instance, I don't know if I have really engaged in the dining room in the right way. I don't think that's somewhere I've personally been.
I honestly feel like I'm still in the living room.
Yeah, no, I mean, but there's nothing wrong with that in the slightest. But I know that I have been in somewhere like the washroom. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I just love that that's like, that encouraged me. Because honestly, we ended at the dining room last time. I'm like, man, I'm really sad. That means like none of the other rooms are going to apply to me. But now who knows, right? Because it really isn't this sequential thing. It's not like, okay, now you're here, you're moving on to this one. Every single person and the way that they progress through the Father's house is going to look different. And that's beautiful.
It did seem like there was, because each room is a calling higher in a way. And so that's actually what I was going to ask. Maybe Noah, you could even give more context to it.
I think it was a calling higher for Haniel in that sense, but I think that's because it was his. I mean, I even asked, I was talking with my mom, and she said that Rachel was like really inspired because like she was really struggling like with a lot of the rooms before it, but then like the second to last room in the whole book, she was like, oh my goodness, I know I've been here.
Wow.
And she didn't feel that way till the second to last room in the book.
Yeah.
So I really do not think they are sequential. I mean, just based on like what I've heard from others, what Tim has even expressed in that. So, I mean, I'd love to hear.
Well, I
what you
guess
think.
in the way that it is, I don't know like if there's an order or whatever, but it does seem like for whoever it is a calling into deeper intimacy with him.
But I think that's just because that's how Haniel is progressing into the rooms. Because I think that is his journey, and that is how he is moving. The more rooms you get to, I guess in that sense, is in a way the deeper and closer you are into the Father's heart. Not necessarily like now I'm in this room, so I'm this amount closer, but it's no, I have been in all these rooms, and so I am closer. Do you kind of get what I mean? Does that make sense? That's how I'm interpreting it, at least.
Right, but maybe we all start somewhere different.
No, we do, 100%. I even think that the living room might be a common experience for a lot of people's
Yeah.
beginnings. I don't doubt that.
No,
But I don't think like, okay, now that I've been in the living room, the next step for everybody is the kitchen. And then after that, the next step for everybody is the dining room. Because that isn't how it's worked in all of our lives. I can see that, you know? And so I'd still love to know what others think, but in my personal experience, that is not what I see in people's lives. And I treat that much higher than anything a book. Even though this book is lovely.
Yeah, what you're saying makes a lot of sense, actually. I'm glad you said that.
Thank
I didn't think about it like that before.
Now I'm curious. I want to read it just to find out where
No, I think those videos, they are lovely to listen to if you want to chop firewood or burn stuff while you're doing it.
Yeah. It wasn't anything bad. It wasn't like plastic.
No, I get you.
But what's the YouTube channel called again?
I will actually send you a link, and I can link you to the
Sweet.
first video too.
That'll be easier to find.
Yep, no problem.
I'm very curious if it's going to take me to different places than you guys. But I have no idea. I'm not going to assume that because it might be much more humbling and it'll be the exact same.
I mean, I think it could even be like, I have no idea what this means, but I'm curious.
Yeah.
And if that's where you are, there is nothing, like, that's totally
Yeah.
okay.
No, if it sets me up for the reread, that's just fine.
I would say just go into it with an open mind and an open heart, and
Yeah.
that is exactly what you're meant to do.
Mm. The hard part will be just not adding it to the list of unread books. Kim will be getting me a book apparently shortly. So
Let go.
Oh, The Seed?
no,
Oh,
it
Let
was
Go.
Let Go.
Oh, Let Go. That's the other
That's
one. she
really
likes.
good.
I was gonna say it was one of the two, The Seed or Let Go.
Tim was like warning me about that at Joyce & Co.
Yeah. And all of these things, I think that the only warning it would be like, bring it to others. Don't
Mhm.
try to internalize
Oh, yeah,
all
don't
that.
dwell.
Don't try to just like self-interpret.
Yeah, it's different. Different, difficult, obtuse. those words.
And make sure that your heart is wanting to learn when you come to it.
Yeah.
I know it's hard.
Yeah, I think pain is important. If something hurts, that means it matters.
Yep.
If anything, it's probably unhealthy, but I think it's exciting when it's like, this is gonna sting, and that means I need to be there for it.
That's
It's like ripping off a Band-Aid
Yeah.
because it hurts at first and then you expose the wound and then it heals.
Yep.
So, I get what you're saying.
No, that's probably because I had to wait till being like 22 for jaw surgery. It was like hyped up. It's like, yeah, this is gonna suck when I was like 6. So it's like just ramping through the years. It's like I can't think of doing anything else now. This is gonna really suck.
Mm-hmm.
You knew since you were 6? Wow.
That's crazy.
You know, I knew very early on. It's like, yeah, your jaw, all your bones need to stop growing before surgery. And for men, that's a little longer than women. But so everyone else got braces and got their teeth fixed early. I got braces, and those brought more pain because my jaw was still misaligned. So the braces lined up my teeth for where my face wasn't. So it just hurt. Everything hurt, but everything was for a cause
Mm-hmm.
and very expensive.
Sorry, I heard a noise and it was funny.
No, not worry.
No, Noah?
I think we wanted to hear your thoughts.
About what?
The book.
I do find it very vivid, and it is interesting to see how it is impacting everyone differently.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what I appreciate about it most. Interestingly, has not been as much like an individual experience as it has been like seeing just how impactful and even spiritually nourishing it has been to those around me. That's, I think, been the biggest encouragement for me as we've gone through it. It is kind of there's something that I anticipate, or that I have like an anticipatory feeling about as we make our way through it, because I haven't read any further than my dad has in class. So, yeah, I don't have a lot to comment on it yet, though.
It's fun to hear it's a shared thing, but it's a little bit kaleidoscopic between you all. Because Kim told me, you guys are only able to be how you are and be who you are because you have community and you have each other and you all bring different things to it.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that this book is doing different things to all of you is very neat.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
that's the body.
Yeah, think of it kind of as a puzzle too. No puzzle piece is exactly the same, but they all fit together for
Yep.
the bigger picture.
I think I heard that. I'm pretty sure it was a video game where you find a cog or something on the floor
Mhm.
and it's this tiny piece and it's like, there's some big machine out there that is really sad that I found this on the side of the road
Mhm.
instead of where it's supposed to be.
Yeah, that's a good analogy.
Apparently, we have not been able to upload it to the YouTube yet because of copyright stuff.
Ah, sweet.
But
Oh.
we are.
So I do have to show
Oh.
We,
person.
but no, what I was gonna say is we are getting a huge shipment of the books from the author himself, and Tim said there will be plenty of extra copies, and he would love to give you one. So,
I think I crunched that a few days ago. I was like, where do you guys get the money for these books?
well, we most of the time buy them for ourselves.
Yeah, no,
but-
I realized that was part of the curriculum was like, Tim supplies the job, so he can probably ask you guys like,
Yeah,
"Buy our
most of the
books."
time we get our own books, but Tim got to talk with this guy, and it was.
That's
I've
really
heard it was a very nice conversation, and he was kind enough to send a bunch of copies of that book.
That's sweet.
'Cause I think he's also not selling it for a whole lot on Amazon anyways, because he doesn't want to really profit on it.
Mm-hmm. That's good. I do like to see that when a business meets its needs instead of is all in the green or something.
Oh, I don't even think this is like a business for this guy. I
Mhm.
think he's selling it for literally as cheap as Amazon will let him.
Yeah, it was very telling to me in a very good way when I heard like you guys like, yo, we're basically not making money on grannies right now. It's meeting ends meet. We're dancing between the red and green at the end of the season, and I was like, well, duh, yeah, because it's jobs for your kids. That's wisdom that you would never meet in a boardroom or something that corpo speak.
What I love about Tim even more so is it extends way beyond his kids. It is like he wants a job he wants a business for a community to run.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you see Isaac stepping into those roles. I think Noah and I are about to get some he's already doing a lot of it, but we're about to get some like bookkeeping workload
Yeah,
stuff.
he told me you might have to step into that.
Yeah, no, I got hired the other day, so we'll see what that looks like. But we were able to have a little meeting on it a couple weeks ago, and it was really cool to see everybody's heart of like how good management and good business practice is very related to the kind of government that the Lord wants to see.
It comes from the heart, which is, I've seen so much of it that it is now very jarring when I see complete boardroom behavior, and I see it's like, yeah, everything that's going on in here is very simple. It is all for very simple margins, and it's like it's all soulless and useless, but it's very productive. And it's because that's the only thing that matters in that situation.
It's because the end is profit.
Yeah,
That is not.
so it becomes yeah. Before I remember growing up, it's like this is all way too complicated, but now it's like, oh, this is so much more simple than what I'm trying to do now. Because when you're trying to be, it's much harder to care, and they don't have to. They have to. The right option for them is very simple. It's
maximize money.
yeah. It becomes the equation gets so much easier when there's one whole variable we're working towards. This is much more complicated, and because of this, the other way seems easier now, or easier to grapple, but much more disgusting. So,
I also say there's far more fulfillment in running good business than there is profitable.
Yeah, it warms my heart to see, good business instead. Like your boss being awesome to you and stuff like that. It's like, it's very good. Once again, like growing up, I was like, I didn't see any of that. So it's like, it's good to know this isn't a one-off. There's more of this in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully I'll be better at finding it. Not in I'm searching for it, but more I will be able to recognize it. Because before it'd be like, this guy's weird. And that's kind of where it just boiled off.
I think that is very much evidently trending within you. And I think that to those with open hearts, you notice a lot more. That is something I am seeing stir within you a lot recently. So be encouraged there.
You're making me smile in new ways.
My bad.
It hurts. I felt that. It pulled at the lower jaw.
Oh. Don't break anything on my head.
No, after jaw surgery, I had to regrow a lot of nerves. But it's very interesting when something happens to me I'm not used to, that pulls in ways that was like, oh yeah, I haven't felt that in a few years. It's shocking, but it's always fun. Now it's always fun. Cheryl made it hurt. She made me smile so much.
That's nice.
I usually take breaks from going to Granny's because like my whole face is numb now. This stings.
Yeah.
I understand that.
Hey Corbin, would you be willing to pray for us?
I don't know. I can barely it occurs.
It's not a performance. You're just talking to God.
All I can do is really say thank you though. That's
Then
all.
just do that.
Don't
Again,
get
if
pressured
you're
by
not
us.
speaking to us, you're kind of speaking with us to God.
This would be like the third, fourth time.
I want you to try it.
It's okay, Corbin. I also am still getting
This
better
happened
at
to
it.
you.
It still happens to me every time Noah asks me to pray. So don't feel any sort of judgment from any of us.
Thank you for this time and these people and what I've been able to share with them. Amen. I don't know where to go from here.
Yeah. If you will too, Corbin. Another thing that you do in prayer, and not in like a liturgical way, but again in like a sincerely expressed way, which I think you did with the thanks that you expressed, is you also learn to ask God for.
That was the problem at first. All I could do was ask.
Yes,
I'm only now getting past that.
but it's not asking in like I pray that I have a great day today and that I get these things that I want in like an earthly sense, but when the Spirit begins to
Ask for what you hope
move,
for.
when it begins to speak to you and move through you, then it's you ask for the things that it inspires you to ask for. And so
That's harder. That means I know the answer.
Here, Corbin, I'll put it like this. It's an easier way that helped me understand it. When you're coming into this, you're very much a baby, spiritually. That's what we call it, spiritual. Think about a baby, right? Do they say thank you and things like that? Maybe, sometimes, if they're very well-mannered. But what is it most of the time? I want.
Yeah.
I want food. I want blank. I ask. That's okay if that's, and even not knowing what to ask, sometimes it's literally just food. And spiritual food in this sense, not quite
Yeah.
literally, but that just means things that sustain you, things that give you life, things that drive you forward. And sometimes it might not even be the right words. Sometimes it might just be, I think for me, the longest time was, I want to do the right thing. Or I want to be continually inspired to keep going in the direction I'm going. I don't want to lose hope.
Yeah.
But it's not overcomplicated at all, and I think that thanking him and speaking, even if it's brief, the Father is still very honored by. Thank you for doing that. I know it's not easy. Trust me. I know.
I can try again.
No.
no, it's
No,
not.
no. There is
not.
nothing you did wrong. It is just
Yeah.
literally.
And prayer is not something that is merely designated for group settings either. It's something you learn
No,
to
that's
do.
what I'm realizing. Is even if if you don't make me do it again, I'm gonna do it at home now.
No.
Well, that's the thing is it's something you learn to do by doing it,
Yeah.
not by being
Trust me.
taught it per se. So yeah, let's wrap it up for today. Thank you guys very much for everything you shared. Until next time, I guess.
Well done.